Hello again, another video, and I hope this one really helps you. But before I get started talking about immature versus mature marketing, I'm really diving into these practices, I need you to like the video and comment. Like it or comment or subscribe. Like it, comment, or subscribe. If you're already subscribed, though, you gotta like it, okay? You can't cop out and be like, I'm already subscribed, because the likes matter to me. And if you're watching, surely you care a little bit about what I think, hopefully. If you don't, just dislike it. Even that helps. All right, so I'm going to get into immature versus mature marketing. I'm going to start with this lovely graph. By now, you're probably all familiar with my illustrious art skills. So this is my graph, okay? This is a time and money graph. Money here, time here. What I'm trying to illustrate is that a mature marketing practice, by my definition, will allow you to spend less money over time to get the same result, or even maybe a greater result, okay? The immature marketing practices should be somewhat level. Maybe a little bit of rockiness, but pretty much level. You're spending a certain amount of money, and over time you have to continue to spend the same amount of money to get the same amount of result, okay? So while I'm talking about these, I'm going to flip this board over and go over some of these practices. While I'm talking about them, I'm not going to cover every single practice there is. There's a million ways to do business. And I'm also not talking down on any of these, immature or mature. They're both useful. And in the beginning, you probably do have to do a lot of immature marketing because your marketing practice is immature. It's young and it doesn't have the money to burn on the front end. Okay? So let's get into these. All right, so I'm going to go over some of these. I got mature on the left and immature on the right. All right, if you can't read, that's fine. I'm going to read the entire thing. Okay, on mature, I still start off talking about direct mail, and the reason I do that is because there's multiple ways to do direct mail. Over here on immature, I start off with BRC and BRM. That's business reply cards or business reply mail. This is a direct mail strategy most people just refer to as direct mail, but it can be very confusing because it's not the only way to utilize direct mail. When you say, I'm going to buy direct mail leads, you're talking about BRCs and BRMs. That's when you send out a card, somebody fills it out, and then you get a lead back. That's an immature marketing practice. The cards do look like they're from the government to some degree, even though they say that they're not on there in really fine print. And so a lot of times when people are filling these out, they think it's an official response, or they think that they're going to get something in the mail in return, something like that. And so that lead is very low intent, but it does give you some permission to contact them, all that kind of stuff. It's definitely an easy way to get started, and it's an easy way as you're building to put some of your junior agents on the road until they can develop their marketing practice into a more mature practice. Now over here on the mature direct mail, what are we talking about? We're talking about intent to solicit an inbound call. That's the intent of this mature direct mail. These are letters going out, being informational, not just salesy, informational, educational, building rapport. The process here would be multiple drips with personal brand emphasis. So this is me sending a bunch of direct mail for a long period of time to the same demographic of people, same targets, geography, age, whatever. And there's different ways to do this. I won't get into the exact strategy because it can get a little bit complex, and we use some of those strategies. So direct mail, we want to intend to solicit an inbound call. What happens when somebody calls you? The intent is very high. Okay, very high. I'm not talking about purchasing a live transfer. That is in no way the same as creating a branded inbound phone call. It is not the same. A live transfer was called out of the blue by someone overseas, and then they've now gotten them to agree to talk to you. Now you think about the person that responds to that. Their intent to life is not high, okay? Their intent is just not there. It's just a really, really crummy way to get somebody on the phone and maybe be able to convert them. When you have somebody that's been actually reading your message that's coming to you in the mail and they pick up the phone and decide to call you, the intent is very high. Cost per lead may be higher, but the longer you do it, again, like the matrix I showed you on the other side, the cost will come down because they've continued to see you and see you and see you, and now maybe they're ready for you, right? So personal brand emphasis and educational, always put something about your agency or your name. I'm Justin Brock. I've been in this business for coming up on a decade, and we've helped 25,000 Medicare beneficiaries, and I really want to help you. Here's some information that hopefully helps you make a decision whether you utilize us or not. Here's some prices on Medicare Supplement Plan G. They love to see prices, stuff like that. Lets them know that you're being transparent up front. If you go down here a little bit further, I talk about targeted multimedia. So on the mature side of multimedia, you have AdWords. This is still relatively lead creating concept with AdWords, and so it's going to be the only one that I'm going to put on this side, because AdWords, when you're using it correctly for Google AdWords and YouTube, is mature because it requires a lot of expertise. The leads are not cheap, and the people that are searching there are actively searching for the information that you're now developing the lead out of. So it's a little bit different than passive lead development. All right. Going down a little bit further, network and broadcast television. Obviously expensive. The longer you do it, though, the better it works. Display advertising. This would be retargeting once people have been on your website. Now, depending on who you are sending to your website, this is good or bad, right? If you're getting a lot of organic traffic to your website and then you're retargeting with display ads, probably going to be a lot more, helpful to you, because you're able to now brand to these people that found you through some organic search. And over time, you will develop some of those leads, or develop some of those people that are being targeted into leads, and they have now been followed around the internet by you. You become more and more relevant. Facebook branding. So Facebook ads can fall, and I'm going to get back over here to Immature in a minute. Facebook ads can fall on both sides of this equation, mature or immature. So there's two different ways to do it. There's a way that develops a brand. There's a way that develops a lead. Passive leads on Facebook are not the same as developing an inbound call from Facebook, developing trust, retargeting your clients, retargeting people who've been to your site, retargeting prospects online. So there is a mature way to digital market. There is an immature way to digital market. Most people that are selling you courses on how to market on the internet only know, or are only really good at, the immature side of Facebook. They're developing a cheap lead. Okay, it's not a whole lot different than developing a BRM or BRC direct mail lead. Okay, but sometimes you can do it cheaper. But I'd say that the BRC quality is actually a little higher than some of those cheap Facebook leads. Bottom down here, I'm going to say SEO and organic search as well, as it would tie back into the retargeting of some of these other digital strategies. But the biggest concept here is to get a brand, a persona, something in front of people to remain mature in the marketing practice. It does not immediately cultivate low-cost leads because it takes time for them to develop trust in you. Anybody can throw up a commercial for a month who can run one for years, okay? Now, going over here to immature marketing. So we talked about business reply mail, business reply cards. We talked a little bit about lead ads on Facebook. If you just go for the lead ad, you're going for the throat. These people are scrolling, looking at pictures of their grandkids. They're doing whatever, playing Farmville, whatever they're doing on there. Now they see your ad. If they respond to it, they were not actively looking for the information, so it is a passive lead, and they're probably offering a lead magnet. So there's something they wanted to just look at. But I'm not saying don't do this. It can be a great way to get them in the door. And sometimes you can marry a lead ad strategy to a more mature strategy, and it can still be useful to you, getting them in the pipeline so that you can retarget them with display advertising and build that brand to a more targeted or select audience. But if you're just doing the lead ad, if that's all you're doing is developing that would be an immature marketing strategy. Networking groups. I know some of you are going to say, no, networking and referrals is mature. However, a really mature marketing platform doesn't need to go out and shake hands to network. It gets referrals based off of the client base referring multiple times. An immature marketing strategy would require you to go out and shake hands in these networking or referral groups to get people to start referring to you and to build those relationships. Again, not knocking this. I did it early on. It's something that I believe young people or newer people in the industry should definitely do, is go out and build relationships. They'll pay dividends over time. But as you get mature in that marketing, you don't have to go out and spend all that time, because your money and the energy that you've put out there and the brand that you've put out there is doing a lot of that work for you, so you don't have to go and do it. It becomes not a great utilization of your time over a long period of time, at least in direct-to-consumer sales. If you're talking about business to business, probably always remains somewhat relevant. All right, door knocking T65s. Of course, I'm talking MedSups or non-CMS regulated products. But door knocking is an immature thing that does work. I know some guys that have built a great book on door knocking. So it is an immature thing to do in the marketing sphere, but it's a good way to start getting in the door. Door knocking businesses. Why would you door knock businesses? Well, a lot of them have employees who need health insurance, who need ancillary products, life insurance, group health maybe. But you can also door knock businesses like pharmacies, P&C shops, things that of people that don't do what you do that can now refer to you. Okay, so building those referral relationships, an immature practice because of the time versus value proposition, but definitely necessary when you have more time than money. And last, I even threw YouTube cheap leads on here. A lot of people are getting into YouTube lead development. It's just like the Facebook lead ads wave several years ago. YouTube can have some ways to develop leads that create high intent traffic or branding. But there are also ways to create a really low cost lead on YouTube, and that low cost lead may be low in value as well. Okay, so that's just a few of the ways that I wanted to classify immature versus mature marketing. As you scale, you should be trying to hedge part of your proceeds or profit margin into a long-term mature strategy. You have to pick one. Nobody should be doing all of this stuff simultaneously. You should be picking something to go into and to start to hedge. You pick one or two, maybe three immature strategies to build on, and then as you're making money and creating a profit margin, start reinvesting that into a mature strategy that gets you off the hamster wheel. Well, I see that you're still here on the video, so that's great because watch time is awesome. But if you haven't liked the video, please like it, please subscribe to the channel, and please comment any questions you have, or even just tell us where you're watching from. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Justin Brock, and you can check us out on justinbrock.com, or check out our CRM at goguru.pro, or check out MedicareCon at medicarecon.com. We'd love to see you there. We have a lot of stuff going on, and we'd love to get you plugged in. Thank you for watching. It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing GoGuru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today.